guys, welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we're going to be learning about the fox eye design, and we're going to be looking at how to design it in both the basic and precise way. If you're not new to this channel, thank you guys for coming back and watching. If you are new to this channel, don't forget that we are on here on both Facebook and YouTube, and you can go ahead and click subscribe or follow depending on what platform you are, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on anything we post. My name is Monica. I am one of the founders of Nana and Mona and also your English version instructor, and I hope you find this video helpful. Also, don't forget, si hablas español, tenemos el mismo video, pero en versión en español con mi amiga Adriana, que vas a encontrar acá arribita. Now, before we begin, if you have not seen our previous video where we talked about how to do the doll eye design, you can go ahead and check that video on our YouTube channel, or you can check in the link down below. We have all those videos listed for you. Without further ado, let's jump right in onto learning how to do the fox eye design. It is important to note that we have two ways of doing this design. We can do it the basic design, as we all know, where we just basically wing it, or we can do it the more precise way, which is a little more exact when it comes to drawing the lines. We can also do this set by working with lengths, or we can also work with layers. It is understandable that for any of these designs that we choose, we can either use them to either correct something on the guest face or accentuate something that we want to bring out from the guest face. In the previous video, we decided that we were going to accentuate something in the guest's eyes, and we did this by rounding the eye. Now, for the fox eye today, we're going to be doing the opposite. We're going to be elongating instead of rounding the eye. Now, how are we going to do that, you might ask? Well, we're going to be putting the highest point under the arch of the brow. The fox eye serves well for people that have either bulging or prominent eyes, when they have slanted eyes, or when they have really big circular eyes. Now, it is also important that we realize that a perfect candidate that can pull off a fox eye not only has the characteristics that we just mentioned, but also has a very permanent arch brow. Another thing that we need for this design is a lot of space. The space that we're talking about is located in between the arch of the brow bone and also the lashes. So this space that you find right here has to be pretty big. Let's start by talking about the basic way of doing the fox eye design. Before we begin our design, it's important to mention that this is not going to be as precise. We are going to be basically winging it with our eyes, and it's up to your criteria to make sure that you're determined whether both eyes are looking the same. An important factor that we need here in order to determine the fox eye is the highest point of the brow arch. When you have found it, you draw the imaginary line, and more or less between this distance will be your highest point. It is here where you will draw some lines, and from there we will descend within our blocks. Remember that if we want to take care of our client's eyelashes, we should work in the corners short numbers, such as 8, 9, 10, and then we will descend 9, 8 again. If we have much more experience, we can add more blocks, and thus they will have a slightly more elaborate design. In some situations, our clients has asked us for super extra long lashes. We have seen cases where clients want an 18 and want to go down from there. Obviously, we would descend 17, 16, 15 in the corners. So what do we do when we have those situations? What happens when your guest wants these really long lashes? Well, the thing is, they can actually pull it off. Sometimes though. This is very important that you are well educated so that you can educate your guests and let them know that eyelash extensions that are usually super long never tend to last as much. Some people do, but we'll get to that in a little bit. When the eyelashes are super long, they tend to either weigh down on the guest's natural lashes, which they tend to fall off faster, or they can also twirl around, which can cause them to be itchy or fall onto the guest's eyes, or they can just be annoying and they could get all tangled up. Before you tell your guests that you will do these long lashes on them, you need to make sure that you also evaluate the guest's state of the natural lash. Sometimes eyelashes can be very thin and very brittle and very, very little, which would make a not so good candidate for when you are looking to do very, very long lashes. If you place them, they will be either weighing way too down on them, and they will refer to this as seeing something black or something dark through their eyes, or it can also just pull off the extension, which is not a good thing to have. You must also remember our mathematical equation. If you have your natural eyelash and want 0.07, let's say in 3D eyelashes, we will see that there are 3 strands of 0.07 on your natural lash, which if it's 0.7 times 3 equals 0.21. If we are working with 5D, we will add another 2, making it 5 bands, which brings us to 0.35 if we do that equation. If the eyelashes are fragile, this will not last. If you apply these heavy eyelashes, you can have 2 scenarios. Either the person comes and says, hey, my lashes are not working and it's only been a week, they've all fallen off. Or you can have a person that comes back and has not even the natural eyelash extensions on. This is why it's important that you are trained and capable of educating your guests when it comes to eyelash extensions. Yes, there are people who are going to come and they're going to say, I don't care, just give me the longest lashes, and you might, and they will all fall out, but at least you warn them. Or there's going to be people who you are going to lose because you are trying to tell them what is right for the natural lash. That's not really in your control, and you as a technician should do the correct thing. Now let's move on to the precise way of doing the fox eye. And when we focus on the precise, we are going to notice that we are a little more successful when it comes to drawing our blocks and making our design. To make the fox eye design, we will first find the pupil. Once we have the pupil located, we are going to draw a 90-degree line angle just at the end of the pupil upwards and extend the second line. Here we have found the highest point where we will be putting the longest eyelash extensions. Then we will lower the size as usual. It is not necessary there to be the same number of blocks on one side or the other within the design. It will always remain as a fox eye. Obviously, you want to make sure that you do the number of blocks that you did on one eye to the other so that it can be as exact as possible. We can put extensions not very long to take care of our natural lashes, and we can do 8, 9, 10, or 11. If you want something a little longer, we can do 9, 10, 11, 12. For our model today, we are going to analyze the characteristics of the eye to see if the design is suitable for her. The first thing we are going to see on our client is that she has a very big eye with a depth that's a little prominent. We have enough space between the eyebrow and the eyelid, so a fox eye would fit very well. To reduce the bulging look, we are going to lengthen our look with a fox eye design. To make our design precise, the first thing we have to identify is the middle of the pupil. We draw an imaginary line after the pupil and project the other line. Now let's see how we are going to pass this onto the eye patch. For the precise design, you want to make sure that you ask your guest to open her eye. We are going to locate the pupil and draw a line right next to it. As we can realize here, the highest point actually meets with the highest part of the eyebrow. From there, we will descend as we normally would. The fox eye is a very awesome set to do with your guests if you know how to use it. It will help you to accentuate and lengthen your guest's eye. Well guys, that concludes our video. If you guys are having trouble understanding this topic, which I know is a little confusing, make sure to let us know down below in the comment section or send us a DM privately. I personally love looking at your messages and responding to each and every one of them. As always, it is a tremendous pleasure being with you guys. I really hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye!